We're talking about guys, a guy that, well, you saw that. I mean, I read his resume. It was just incredible to me what we saw on that resume. Hey, it looks like we're being joined by our offensive lineman guest, which is always a lot of fun. Brian O'Neill is about to join us now here on the Common Man program.
And he was the one driving the golf cart. He didn't even let PR guy do it for him.
Well, if you're going to die in
he wants control.
If you're going to die in a fiery golf cart crash, you want to be the guy behind the wheel. That's why, Brian, thanks for joining us. I appreciate that. Anytime I go anywhere with people, like we're going to go on some kind of a road trip, I want to be behind the wheel because if we're going to die in a car crash, I want to have control over it. You know what I'm saying? You drove that pretty well. Nice job.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, it's if you were able to sit in that and use that while you played offensive line, you'd clear out a lot of holes. I think you'd be able to knock a few people over.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, how have you been?
I'm great.
We haven't
how are
seen
you?
you in a while. It's been a while. We saw you over at Shields during the Toys for Tots things. How do you like camp so far? How's it going? It's very short. You've only been doing walkthroughs for the most part, right?
Yeah, it's been great. I think today's our second day on the field.
Yeah.
Weather's been great.
Yeah.
Nice and cool with a good breeze. So far, so good. Everybody's healthy, ready to roll.
Yeah, I know we talked to you last time about how you've really, since your rookie year and where you are now, you're really highly regarded around the league and a cornerstone of the offensive line at right tackle. And you're getting a lot of reinforcements now, too. What we saw last year was Cleveland and Darisaw both look like they've got some real potential. They showed some real bright spots. Looks like the offensive line, which, as you probably know, has been much maligned in town. People are always critical of the offensive line, probably in every city when they're not winning games. But it seems like the offensive line has got quite a bit to work with now. What's it like? What's it like in that room right now with that unit?
It's good. It's a really confident group. We probably have the most confidence going into this season than any other group that I've been a part of. Just guys feeling good coming into their roles and feeling good about the positions they're in and the work they did to put their bodies in position to have a good year. So I like our room top to bottom. Got a bunch of great guys. We have a really good new coach, Chris Cooper, who's done a great job with us. And I think this offensive system is really set up to give us success.
How much difference is there between position coaches? Like you say, Cooper, you like what he does. How is it different from the guy you had before that, or maybe the guy before that, what you had in college, high school? Is there a lot of difference, or is it like, I always say this with golf coaches. Golf teachers basically are all telling you the same type of things. They just have a different way of communicating it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, first off, the offense is different. Everything's, called something different, so we're speaking a different language, so to speak. But it's the same thing in any other, line of work with different personalities. The boss might have a different personality than the last one or the one before that. So it's just, learning to manage those personalities and try to take something from each of them and understand what he wants and how to give him the best product.
Darisaw was a first-round draft pick for the Vikings, and then I think right away didn't he miss the first half of the season?
He was hurt
because he had I don't remember exactly what it was, but he had an injury. Then he came in, and of course, when you're just starting in the league, you're going to have some bright spots and you're going to have some low spots. But he seemed to catch on pretty quickly. What do you make of him as an offensive lineman? How bright can his future be?
I think it's incredibly bright. I don't think people understand that. Coming off of his injuries last year, he didn't take a single rep during OTAs. He didn't take a single rep during minicamp. He missed his entire rookie training camp and then really didn't start practicing until 4 days before the first game. So his first live NFL experience was in a game on the road in Carolina, and he did great. And he had a great year on very limited exposure to NFL speed and pass rushers. And so far, so good for him, and I think he's got a really bright future.
Everybody talks about it. There's a huge difference in the speed and the talent when you go from college, because, again, college is big time, no question about that. But when you think of so many colleges out there and so many players, then you whittle it down to the best players in the world. How big of an adjustment is it to go from college to the NFL?
It's pretty big. It's probably a more dramatic change from college to the NFL than it is from high school to college. It's, everybody's the best. Everybody you play, even at practice on this field, is the best player that you ever saw in college, and every single person's like that.
How big of an adjustment was for you when you first got in? Did you feel like you were, when you first got into the league and started the practice and playing games, did you go, man, this is a lot tougher than I thought, and maybe even had some self-doubts, or did you all along say, no, I got this, I can play in this league?
Definitely the first. I did not feel like I came in ready to play, ready to contribute. That's why I think what Christian did last year is so impressive, is that he didn't have any of those growing pains that I had 6 months of, and then even halfway into my rookie year before I started playing, getting to practice, he didn't have any of that time. So he came in definitely a lot more ready to contribute than I did.
Tell us about Ezra Cleveland. How good can he be? He's, again, another player that seemed to like he was able to pick up, on the game pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, his natural position is on the left side, and that's what he played in college. And then his rookie year here, they had him switch to guard and then switched him to right guard, so he was at a new position on a new side. And then last year he really settled into, being on the left side, which is what he's always known. And he's coming into his second year doing that. He's in a much better shape physically now than he has been. He knows what he needs to do mentally, and he's really motivated to have a great year. I think he's going to be a special player.
I've always wondered how much of a difference is from being on the right side to the left side of the line. It seems a layman. Again, I'm not breaking down 22 wide. I did play some offensive line when I was in 4th and 5th and 6th grade, but that was a long time ago. It just seems, well, how big of a difference can it be on the left to the right? But it sounds like you're telling me it's a world of difference.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly am not somebody who can just switch with a snap of a finger. There's guys who can do that, but I've always said, give me at least the whole off season to prepare if it's going to happen. I need, February through July to get ready in order to make that switch. But some guys are talented enough, that's...
What makes it so? So give me a couple of the reasons why it would be difficult to go, like if they told you you're going to go play left tackle rather than right tackle. Yeah. I mean, a left tackle, I guess you're guarding the blind side of the quarterback for one, right? And generally speaking, right-handed quarterbacks.
Well, I think we do so many things with repetition where if I'm pass setting, I'm always pushing off my left leg. Always 100 times a day, over and over and over again, and I'm always usually punching with my right arm first because it's my outside arm. And then they switch it, and now all of a sudden you're only pushing off your right, and you're mostly punching with your left, or vice versa. However you want to play the pass down, everything's switched. So it's kind of like brushing your teeth with your left hand for me.
Tend to be. I don't even brush my teeth, so I wouldn't even know what's that's like.
I use an electric, so
yeah,
the brush does all the work.
Our guest is Vikings offensive lineman Brian O'Neill. We're out here at TCO Performance Center for Vikings training camp. There's been a lot of discussion about the center for the Vikings and about how he's this year putting on some more weight to try to be bigger and stronger. I would think, especially on the offensive and defensive lines, big and strong are big pluses, right? Because everybody, these nose tackles nowadays they're pushing almost 400 pounds, and they're not just 400 pounds and just sitting there like a Volkswagen. They can actually move. They're athletic.
Yeah, for sure. He has to be able to move on the inside too, and I think he has put on a little bit of weight, but he's probably our second heaviest lineman right now compared to Christian. But I think that's all overblown. I think he's an incredible player. He does more in terms of the communication for our offensive line and has for the past 3 years than most other centers in the league, just in terms of putting us in the right places and getting us where we need to be, from other guys I've talked to. And, we can do our part to help him out too.
Well, how does that work? How does it work where you say put you in the right positions? It's like when you come up to the line and break a play, is he like saying, watch this, look for that, this guy's doing that because he's reading the defense is basically what's happening?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, when he has to deal with me a lot, I have to ask him the snap count half the time because I forget. So, he has a lot of responsibility.
Well, I was born in Detroit. You know how we learned to count in Detroit? 0-1. 0-2, 0-3, so I'm not really good at snap counts.
He can't laugh at that.
No, he can't.
That goes viral if he laughs at that. He's got to give you a straight face.
Yeah, he's got to give you the straight face. Yeah, I guess so.
I want to ask you about. Obviously you have to have chemistry with all your offensive linemen, but the right guard specifically for you. Like, how long does it take to kind of have chemistry with the position right next to you in terms of having trust, and they have trust in you, and then it seems to be that's kind of the one spot on the entire offense where there's competition as to who's going to start. So. How do you go about getting that chemistry when you're going to have multiple guys working next to you?
Well, you kind of said it. It could be multiple guys. So it's my job and my responsibility to build up a rapport with all of them because it's not my decision who plays, but it's, I better be able to do a good job with whoever it is. So it's on me to, build a great relationship with all of them, understand the little differences in each of their techniques and angles and aiming points and things like that. So I just look at it as, hey, whoever's in there, we have to make this work because we're going to have to make this work on Sundays, regardless of who it is.
At this stage of your career, you've been around for a while now. You've established yourself. You're one of the better right tackles in the league. What are you working on? What are you personally trying to improve on in an offseason compared from last year to get better for this coming season?
There's some things in pass pro I can always clean up. I think that's the hardest thing we all do is go out there on an island week after week and shut down the best pass rushers in the league. So there's always a million technical things you can try to improve on. I want to get better with certain hand striking things that, little tricks that I'm trying this camp, and hopefully, get out there and have some clean sets on Sunday.
We'll keep Brian O'Neill for another minute or two because I know he has to get back to practice. But when you're playing on the line and it's a different offense than it was before, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You have, different coaches have. I think Mike Zimmer liked to run the ball a lot. We think O'Connell's more like a pass guy. I know the verbiage and all that's changed. You talk about the language and such like that. How much different is the two? Is this offense compared to what you've had last year or the previous years?
I think it's still too early to tell from my end. You'll really only know after you play a couple games and see how the games shake out and how they're called, because there's only so many ways to run the ball and there's only so many ways to throw the ball in the NFL. So it's all similar concepts. At this point, I've had 4 or 5 offensive coordinators, since in my time here. So everybody has their own way of doing things. So you've kind of been exposed to it all. And obviously we'll be able to take a lot from this coaching staff and they'll have their own twist, but we're not reinventing the wheel of how to play football. There's concepts that have been around and have been established as really good. So hopefully we can get really good at doing them.
It seems like the glamour positions, quarterback, wide receiver, the skill position players, they get all the glory and all the headlines. Do you ever get envious and jealous of these guys that they get talked about all the time? And usually the offensive line doesn't get talked about unless they made too many penalties.
Unless you screw up. Yeah.
Unless you screw up, it seems like you don't hear a lot. Is that kind of like, now wait a minute, now we're doing our part here too?
Not really. We know how hard our job is, and people in the league who have been around offensive line play and know what the defenses are like that we're going up against these days. They understand who's a good player and who's a good group. So, we do it for ourselves and our team and try to put a good product out for the fans.
Patrick Peterson's, he was very blunt with us. He says he's accomplished a lot, individually, those goals. He wants to win a championship. He thinks with the guys on this team, he thinks there's a distinct possibility they could do that. You have the same confidence in the club?
I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think we have all the right pieces and a lot of players who are motivated to put a great product out there and hopefully go win a lot of games.
Yeah, well, good luck to you. Go back to practice now and go work on your hand techniques or whatever. It's good to see you again, and we appreciate it, and good luck to you the rest of this upcoming season.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Appreciate
Travel safe in that cart.
Yeah.
All right, I will.
Yeah,
all right.
Careful. That's Brian O'Neill. He is the Vikings right tackle. He joins us here at the TCO Performance Center. It's Common Camp. We'll take a short break. We'll come back with more. It's at TCO, also known as the New Winter Park. Back with more after this here on The Fan.